Good morning, everybody. How are you doing today? This is Marissa Indigo. Today we're going to be talking about void space technology. But before we get into using the void space as a potent ally for transformation, transcendence, transmutation, all my favorite alchemical concepts as we alchemize our being into the next level of our true potential, I want to talk about the void space in general. So the last, I would say, 2 days have been very uncomfortable for me, and I have started to identify certain characteristics of experience with being in a void space portal. And it took years for me to be comfortable with this space because I didn't know what was happening. You know, a lot of the times we don't know what the fuck is going on, and we just know that we're uncomfortable or not at ease. It's a variety of different feelings and sensations and thought forms that we experience. So it actually wasn't until March of this year, around the equinox, that I had a really powerful understanding, finally a realization of the void space and how to work with it rather than coming from fear or just wanting to run, because it can be very uncomfortable, even physically uncomfortable. So what is the void space? Really the void space is what we exist in all of the time. We're constantly creating. I mean, if we want to really look at it as from like a quantum esoteric level, we're surrounded with plasma 24/7. But there are certain times, portals, gateways, particular astrological alignments, a lot of the different powerful things that are coming up galactically for us right now, where we will feel a very unique sense of just cellular discomfort. So what we're dealing with right now in mid-June, today is a Saturday, June 15th, and we are in the full moon portal. So that's one portal that we're already in. It started to ramp up a few days ago. We're having some really profound and gnarly, goes both ways, astrological events happening. We've got a grand trine in water and a kite, and I highly suggest you reach out to some specialists with astrology for this, like maybe the Leo King is one that comes to mind off the top of my head, or a Luna Ash. So we have the full moon on Monday. Friday, June 21st, we have the summer solstice, which is huge. And then July 2nd, we have the first eclipse. It's a new moon. I believe it's a full solar eclipse. So needless to say, we're in the midst of a lot of powerful energy. And in spaces like this, there's so much going on galactically that we can be really uncomfortable, confused. I took some notes. My favorite way to explain how I know that I'm in the void space is a feeling of nebulousness. Like I literally feel spaced out. I will feel like I don't have a stone to stand on, that there's no foundation. So I will just feel very discombobulated, disconcerted, like I'm floating in space, and that there's nothing to grasp. And in these moments, it's kind of challenging, just a little, to say the least, because usually when we're putting out, if you will, like a probe or an inquiry into our higher self and into the space around us, usually for me, that's how I navigate, is it's a sensory experience. I'm feeling the energy around, and that's how I make decisions, and that's how I get answers to things, and observing. So when we're in this kind of high intensity level of chaotic energy, it can be scary because we're not sure what the fuck is going on. It can be hard to think, in a linear way. And obviously we're moving away from linear into more of a multidimensional means of thinking, which is actually perceiving instead of our linear thinking. But even that can be challenging because we're like in this chaotic soup. So I took some notes here to try to organize this better and hopefully be of help to you guys. So when we're in the void space, we can feel confused, spacey, nebulous, listless. There can be high levels of physical discomfort, like you're being squeezed, and for me, sometimes I'll feel like, oh my gosh, I just want to jump out of my own skin, like I'm so fucking uncomfortable right now. You may want to feel the need to isolate yourself, have alone time, have downtime. For me, with the high radiation that's coming, the cosmic rays, I get nauseous, so I have to rest a lot and change my diet up. But while this can be very scary because this is more of a foreign energy to work with, I have to say that this is the ultimate creative potential for us. And the discomfort and the squeezing and the hard to breathe sensations, this is actually a contraction. This is a good thing. This is one of the most exciting concepts. It's a rebirth. We're literally being pushed out, if you will, of the canal, the galactic canal, and we're rebirthing ourselves. So for me, what happens in this kind of process is that I will see fear come up. I feel really fucking uncomfortable. So I will sit with it, I'll observe it, I'll have compassion for myself in the process to move through it. Because I have to tell you, this entire ascension process is one of continual expansion and contraction. So we're in this transitional space quite often. We'll have an expansion where we gain new awareness and insight, and we're manifesting and we're flowing and we're high and we're feeling great. And then when we have a distortion to clear, which many of us may have hundreds of distortions to clear, because remember, it's not just this life, it's every single life we've ever had. This is the most powerful incarnation we chose this time around. So we're clearing all distortions from our genetic makeup and our cellular existence on all levels. And remember, we have 10 energy bodies. And not to be overwhelming, or heavy with this information, but just to understand why sometimes these clearings can feel so intense. And the key is to not get stuck in the intensity. Don't let the emotions bog you down. Witness it, sit with it, don't run from it, don't stuff it. These are old ways. We don't do this anymore. When we're presented with a fear, you've got to sit with it right there in that moment. Dive deep, explore. What are the roots of this? Because the more willing you are to sit with it, the more quickly you can transcend it. So I want to say that in my experience, fear, when we have an intense fear that comes up, it's a portal to the miracles and the magic that we've always wanted, and they're on the other side. So consider fear to be an initiation. I'll tell my friends a lot, when they're going through different situations, or myself when the intensity is very, very palpable and it's hard to sit still. You just really got to focus on your breath and just be present. That it's a fire walk, and that's not a joke. It is definitely a fire walk, but you wouldn't be doing it if you couldn't do it. You wouldn't be here if you couldn't do it. So just know that, just keep breathing. So fear is a portal. And once we can go through that portal, there's magic and miracles on the other side of it. It's an activation. It's a leveling up in the video game, the virtual reality that is this incarnation, if you will. So another thing I wanted to speak about fear, because it can be gripping, it can take us over. And it's okay if that happens for a little while. It's good to feel things. We don't want to stuff anymore. We don't want to run anymore. We don't want to numb anymore. Because if we keep doing that, it's going to only get worse until we're finally ready to sit with it and take ownership, whatever we need to do to move it out. But I have to say, in my observation, at the most intense moments where I didn't know if I was going to survive, this is various instances in my life, because I've had a lot of trauma in my life, in the previous cycles of life, that we have the law of cause and effect. And the law of cause and effect is, helping us to understand energetically the quantum energy of all of our experiences. So everything that exists has an equal and opposite component, equal and opposite reaction. So when we have an intense fear, for me, I'll feel the fear, and it can be gnarly. I witness it, process it, figure out what I need to do. And then I know that once I've you can feel internally like, okay, I've definitely worked with this, I've felt with it, sat with it, and I'm ready to clear it out. So once we kind of allow the emotional movement to kind of come through and be purged cellularly, for me, I can then step back and look at this as a math equation or a scientific equation. So we know that, the law of cause and effect, which is stating the equal and opposite reactions of energetic dynamics, that if something is really fucking intense and terrible and gnarly and unpleasant, it's only going to be matched by something magical, unbelievably delicious, orgasmic, just blissful. So you have to know that when you're going through intense spaces, it's because on the other side of that is a beautiful one. So for me, I get emotional first. It's the first part of the process for me, is I will get emotional and kind of sit with myself and do whatever practices I need to do, breath work or Kundalini yoga, or just laying and listening to something lovely. Going out walking in nature is a really good one. And once I've allowed that to move through me, it's time for the scientific portion, which is where okay, cool, I went through it. I'm so proud of myself. Now what's coming? What magic and miracles are coming on the other side for me? And then you get back into the open heart space and being open and ready and willing and proud of yourself as well. So I just want to invite you in these spaces, meet the fear and dive deep inside to transcend and transmute that fear. I also wanted to offer an animal ally to help in this process of when we're in the void space, and when we have fear and we really feel like we are in the dark. This totem also helps very much with any dark night of the soul experiences, is the black panther. And fun story, I don't know, have any of you guys noticed how the bathroom seems to be a portal? It's hilarious, right? So I worked with an amazing spiritual mentor for almost 10 years. And I remember this was my first experience seeing a multidimensional entity or being. No joke, it's like my first time at her house. And she would have metaphysical classes every Wednesday. So me and my daughter would go, and it was like our Hogwarts, our esoteric quantum physics Hogwarts Academy. And I'm in the bathroom, using the bathroom, and I see this huge black panther just coming through the hall, through the closed door, just like very slow and, luxuriously, like creeping towards me, is huge black panther as I'm on the toilet. And I was like, what the fuck, I'd never seen anything like that before. So I talked to my mentor about it, and she said, oh, that's Leolandra, and she's my guide in the void space. So for me, I want to honor my teacher, and Leolandra is her particular guide. But I know the Black Panther is a just unbelievably valuable asset to us when we walk through the void space. So you can call on Black Panther to assist you if you're afraid, you need some courage, you need some strength to walk the fire walk in the dark, in the void. Call on Black Panther. Because they're more than willing and happy to help us, and it's a very powerful ally. Let's see. So the last thing I want to touch on is the Mayan Star Glyph Akbal. And this is here to show you what this energy looks like. So this amazing card, I've mentioned this fabulous oracle deck before. This is the Mayan Oracle cards by Ariel Spilsbury. I think that's like backwards or upside down. Sorry, guys. And I cannot express enough how valuable this card deck has been to me, because we are experiencing galactic shifts. So it's nice to have something that's ancient and timeless technology for navigating where we are with all of this galactic energy coming in. We're really expanding in a big way. So when I was really experiencing the void at its most uncomfortable, this was this year, about around March 20th, March 21st for the equinox, I was like really in it, and I was really having a hard time. And I felt like there was nothing to grasp at to give me some solidarity, to give me some comfort. And that's another aspect of the void space, is that any of the things that you would turn to for comfort, they don't do shit. So it's literally you and your soul just sitting in the dark like, okay. So I went to the Mayan Oracle deck. This is my go-to when shit goes down. And I pulled Akbal. So I'd like to read to you a little bit about Akbal, so that you can also learn to work with this star glyph and really start to change your perception of the void space from one of being really scary and, just, oh my gosh, it's the unknown. Yes, it is those things. But in contrast, it is the most pregnant womb of the cosmos. It is the most incredible, powerful source for us to create with. So what happens is we go into this space, we go through the fear, it's an activation, it's an initiation, and when we succeed, which I know you all will succeed, just have patience with yourself. You go through to the other side, and then you've got this infinite black plasma energies to work with, to mold and to create, and to really work miracles in your life. So this is Akbal. So there's I love this book because before they introduce the cards, they give a little poem, which is really beautiful. So I'm going to read you the poem. But first, I'm going to read the kind of like the breakdown of Akbal as an energy to work with. So this is the star glyph from the Mayan Oracle deck. So Akbal, abyss, mystery, sanctuary, serenity, the looks within place, enclosing darkness, journey into self, stillness, dream time, the dream field matrix, and dream exploration. So just to give you some, insight and hopefully activate you with how powerful this is to work with and how magical, and it's just creating more intimacy with yourself and your soul and more empowerment for you ultimately. So I'm going to read this little kind of poem to you here. Akbal, the magical child. I am Akbal, enveloping darkness, potent peace, fecundity of the abyss, deep silent retreat, sanctuary, the womb of the dream time, the powerful cauldron of possibility where all exists now. Dream matrix where reality is created by the conscious dreamers, place of remembrance of the formless, sounding the great mystery of being in form, the stillness that is dancing. I beckon you to merge with me, to go within, to free your illusions of pain, self-doubt, judgment, limitation, forgetting, that the gifts of release, the glimmer of light at tunnel's end might be yours, that the expansive vessel of the essence self may be raised to your eager lips and your reunion tenderly celebrated in the sanctuary of my warmth, my darkness, my peace. And I'm going to read to you the Discoverer and the Shadow Wisdom of Akbal, so you can really get into this. So I just encourage you, close your eyes, listen, let the words activate you, and I'm so excited for you guys. So the Discoverer, enter into the sanctuary of self, the arms of enclosing darkness. The tunnel, as you enter it, always seems dark at first. Enter the enveloping darkness of the womb of self. Sit in stillness there. The internal journey of introspection and integration of the mystery has begun. Free yourself to look fully at your present situation from a subjective point of view. Receiving Akbal indicates gifts from going inside to the place of potential where all dreams, ideas, and possibilities exist. Enter into the potency of the dream time matrix where all things are possible. Learn to utilize this dream time where there is no distinction between then and now, real or imagined, dream or dreamer. All that you are, all that you believe, hope, and dream creates your personal dream field. In that field, there are no victims or blame. You are now attracting those elements to your field that will create completion and wholeness for you. Become lucid in life. So it's inviting us to really take advantage of the lucid dream that is life. If you chose Akbal, you are being asked to cross the boundaries of your own growth edges. In the stillness within you, potent gifts form in the darkness. Be willing to embrace and follow your process into the void of seeming pain and discomfort to the place of mystery. Sense the possible answers and receive the insights being offered as the unconscious reveals itself. Pay special attention to your dreams. Potent treasures await you in dream time, where the mystery of enclosing darkness reveals its face. So, that is Akbal. So, everybody, thank you so much for joining me today. If you have any questions, let me know. Just leave them in the comments. And happy navigating. You can do this. You just need the tools, some breathing. Make sure you're in your body. You've got all the support you need. So thank you so much, and happy creating in this fabulous void space. All right, everybody. Bye-bye. See you soon.